What's going on, guys? Cliff and Denny with On Your Own Outdoors. Hey guys, it's summertime, so you know what that means. It's time to knock out some gear review. The gear that we're doing today is the XOP Mutant saddle harness. This is a single panel saddle harness that XOP just dropped here about a month and a half ago. The biggest thing that everybody notices about this right off the bat is the price tag coming in at $119. Super budget friendly for what this saddle has to offer, comparatively speaking to the rest of the saddles across the market. So what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to talk about this thing just like we do every other product. We're going to play in it. We're going to talk about all the gadgets about it. We're going to talk about the weight rating and everything else. And then at the end, I'm going to give you the pros and cons as I see it. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So number one, it is a single panel saddle harness. So if you are familiar with XOP and their last saddle harness, it was the Mondo, which was a fall safety system and a saddle harness mix. One thing that guys kept beating them up about is like, hey, they wanted just a traditional harness because not everybody wants the shoulder straps, and this is the answer for that. So we're going to go from top to bottom talking about this thing right now. So the first thing is the waistband. They've got the nice little gator clip here in the middle. I like to see that. I don't like to just have to step in one and tighten it down. I do like to see where you can take it apart. And the reason being, when you're folding that dude up and putting it in your backpack, if it's not something you want to wear in, because I'm not a huge fan of wearing a saddle into the woods, I like to put it in my backpack. It makes it user-friendly, super easy to get rid of. The next thing is down here on the leg straps. They basically have the same locking mechanism here. It's hard to see there, but inside of those little clips, when it's in and it's set, it's got a little green tab to let you know that it's in place. Also, you hear the metallic click. When you hear that metallic click, you know it's in there. Moving on around, again, same thing on this side. Just like every other saddle here, you've got your two hooks here for your lineman's rope. The good thing about these is whenever you see the saddles, guys, not just the XOP saddles, but the rest of them, that have them up here on the high side. Makes it super easy whenever you're climbing the tree that you can keep your lineman's rope kind of up above you at all times, kind of giving you this angle like that and helping you keep that tension on it, because as we all know, saddles and stuff like that aren't made for falls. They are made for hauls. So it's made to hold your weight, not necessarily drop your weight. So probably the biggest change from the Mondo to this saddle that we're going to talk about here is the bridge. Number one, this saddle comes with all ropes that you need. It comes with your lineman's rope, it comes with your bridge, it comes with your tether, it comes with everything. All of that for that $119. Also, talk about this thing is over here on the side. You can see the knots that tied in. You can back this dude off. You can move it around here. And I promise you, when we get in a tree in a little while, we start talking about it, makes a huge difference. Your bridge is adjustable. Just grab a hold of it, pull it out. The next thing we're going to talk about is the loops they have here. They've got the straps here, the molly straps, so that you can, if you want to put dump pouches or you want to put something like that on that, you most certainly have that option along the bottom and along the top. So when it comes to comfort, one thing that I like about this saddle is how thick these bands are. When you get in one that really doesn't have those thick bands and they're a lot thinner, you end up with a lot more bite underneath. I'm going to stop talking about it. We're going to start being about it. So over here in the tree, I have the XOP invader set up. I've already got my tether up in the tree, so I'm going to adjust this camera. We're going to climb up there real quick. All right, guys, we're locked in now. One thing I want to talk about, and again, that is not just about the XOP saddle, that is about any of them. When you get these saddles in, you need to make sure that while you're sitting there watching TV or whatever, play with your ropes. Just roll them around in your hands, bend them, flex them, stuff like that, because whenever these ropes come brand new, they're tight, so you get a little bit of slippage in them, so you actually got to put some weight in them to get them to lock down. So you don't want the first time that you're climbing with any of your new ropes and the first time that you use them to be when you're in a tree. But what we're going to talk about right now is the adjustments of this saddle, because there used to be the biggest difference in between an expensive saddle and a cheaper saddle was the amount of adjustments that you had in that thing. And when it comes to this Mutant, that's just not the case. So if you're familiar with saddles or you're not, go watch some videos, but look at the coverage that I have on the back side for a single panel saddle. That is the number one thing that makes this saddle a lot more comfortable than a lot of the other single panels, is that they extended that panel out so that the comfort level was a little bit better. The next thing we're going to talk about is the bridge. So on the bridge, whenever you're hunting, everybody knows you can release this dude off if you're getting a little pressure, or if you want to stand more straight up, you can grab a hold of it, tighten it up, grab up here on your tether, and you can have more of that stand-up thing. The biggest deal about this saddle that I think is the adjustments that you have over here where your bridge connects in. So over here on the side, you can see here you have a big loop and you've got your knot that comes in here. You can push in on that, dude. So say that I was sitting here like this and I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of pinch up here at the top. Like, you know, you've been sitting there 4 hours, you're starting to get some wear up here on the top of your hips. You can come in, pull yourself up close to the tree, loosen this guy off, slide it down to the bottom, kind of snug it back, go to the other side, do the exact same thing, kind of snug it back. Now when you sit down, and you can see this up here is loose now. Now all of the tension is down here on the bottom, and I can do more of that hammock style sitting, which is absolutely fantastic. Having these adjustments over here on the side are probably the biggest thing whenever it comes to a saddle to me. But really and truly, like, that is the biggest deal about this saddle. Again, you've got the molly straps here in case you wanted to put some dump pouches on. So the other thing that for you guys that are big time saddle hunters, been saddle hunting a long time, you might want to ignore this. But for the guys that are just getting into it, like I said, one thing about the XOP saddle is the price point. It comes in a whole lot cheaper than the comparable saddles out there. And something that everybody always wants to talk about is, are saddles safe? And as long as you're keeping weight on them the whole time, I think that saddles are probably one of the most safest things that you can hunt out of on the market, because if you do it the right way, you are always attached to the tree. But something I always like to do whenever I'm in these things, just to show everybody, is I promise you, you are not falling out of a saddle. They are super secure. The way that they bite around your hip, the way that your bridge holds you in, it's not gonna let you fall out of this thing. If you fall out of a saddle, you did something crazy. But anyways, guys, that kind of gives you all of the adjustments that you can make up here in the tree. I'm gonna go ahead and get down now, and we're gonna do like we always do. We're gonna talk about those pros and cons. All right, guys, we're down, we're out of the tree, and we're gonna talk about the pros and the cons as I see them. We always start with the negatives, and then we work our way back to the positives, so we end with a smile on our face. So the biggest negative that I have out of this saddle, which I have already told XOP my opinion on, is the clips. So one thing is listen, you hear that? So what you see with a lot of companies, they end up doing, and I haven't really checked it out on a lot of harnesses, on the actual saddle harnesses, but when it comes to safety harnesses, you'll see companies kind of put some kind of rubberized material there where those gator clips come in. So if you're messing with this thing at night, you're not over there beating, clanging, and tanging and stuff like that. A quick fix for that with this saddle though, or anything else that has that kind of metallic noise, is you can take you some electrical tape and wrap around that, dude. It does help. It's not gonna fix it. So that's the number one negative that I have about this thing. The next thing that I have that I think is kind of a negative is the color. I wish that it was a darker color. I'm not a huge fan of the silvers, not just this saddle, but there's multiple saddles out there if you go watch some of my other videos. I just don't like the silver. When I'm in the tree, I want to be feeling like I'm blending in, even if that's like a tan color or a brown color, or I guess what some guys would call khaki, or even the OG XOP green, I think would have been super cool. So maybe we'll see that in like an updated version of this saddle. But now we're going to talk about the pros, and there's a lot more pros about this thing than there is negatives. The number one pro, again, it's what led everybody to my channel, I think, to start requesting a review of this thing, is that price point coming in at $119. That is absolutely insane when it comes to a saddle, especially when it has all the features of most of the high-end saddles. So price point's number one. Number two is the bridge with the adjustments over here on the side. That is a huge, guys. I promise you, if you have one of the older saddles or one of the cheaper ones that doesn't have this adjustment over here on the side, if you would move to one of these style saddles, it'll change your life. It does make that big of a difference. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is getting rid of the shoulder straps. I was not the biggest fan of the Mondo. Do I think it was a bad saddle? No, I think it was a great concept. However, if I'm going to saddle hunt, and everybody knows that that saddle hunting is not going to be my first choice. But if I'm going to saddle hunt, I like the traditional style saddles better. You have the adjustable bridge here. You've got the adjustments over here on the side, obviously the legs, the waist. And then the next big deal about it is that this saddle for $119 comes with absolutely everything. It's got a tether, it's got a lineman's rope, it's got all your clips here, all your carabiners to clip in. It comes with your bridge. This thing is a one-stop shop. And then finally, we're gonna end on this, is the fact that it does have the molly strips. I don't use dump pouches because I have to carry a bag anyways for my camera gear. However, a lot of guys do like the dump pouches, and this gives you so many options on where you want to put those dump pouches. So if you want to carry your straps up and stuff like that for your stand, it gives you the options to be able to buy those, put them on there, and you have that there. But anyways, guys, that is the XOP Mutant, the new saddle for 2024. I think XOP hit a home run with this for what it is, and what XOP seems like they keep trying to do is stick with that blue collar kind of thing. And I think they're hitting it out of the park. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for y'all today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, go back to that homepage, hit the little bell up top, because I promise you in the next couple weeks, I've got a lot of products that I got to get through. Until next time, guys, good hunting, and we'll see you from a tree.